Hi, and welcome to the Tralfamadorian Show. I'm Catherine Rock.
And I'm Hillary Reed. Thank you for joining us this evening. Tonight we will be discussing some of our favorite characters from Kurt Vonnegut's most famous novels, of which we have some pretty quirky characters.
We'll be asking a bunch of questions that I know you guys are very excited to hear, and I hope you enjoy all that they have to say.
What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight.
Our first interview today is with Howard Campbell, a Nazi propagandist and broadcaster, but claims to be an American spy the entire time. We'll let you decide for yourself. Howard, how were you inspired to become involved as an American intelligence agent?
Well, quite frankly, I didn't really like America, nor did I really like Germany. But I was a little bored at the moment and thought that it would make a good story one day, so I decided to join it. I didn't really feel like I had much of a choice. But at the end of the day, I have no regrets because my life was boring as it was, so I needed a little spice.
Okay. Howard, how would you describe your relationship with your wife, Helga?
Oh, my dearest Helga. We're a nation of two, I tell ya. I could not live my life without her. So of course when I found out that her sister was impersonating her, well, I couldn't help but be disappointed. But then at the end of the day, it was close enough, and well, I'm a simple man, so I wasn't too bothered by it.
Interesting. I think myself and the audience, we're all wondering, what side do you really belong to?
I don't know why everyone cares so much. Sides really in nations and politics, well, they're just all pointless in my mind, but I guess if I must tell you, I think that I'm most associated with the cats in the cradle and the silver spoon. Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. I was just singing one of my favorite songs inspired by one of Kurt Vonnegut's books, Cat's Cradle. But where does Kurt Vonnegut get his ideas for so many of these symbols that are now used in merchandise today? Well, we're gonna go find out.
All right, guys, what do you think this symbol is?
It kind of looks like a star.
No.
Kind of like a snowflake or something to me.
Nope. Take two. All right, guys, let's try this again. What is it?
I already told you, like a snowflake.
Guess again.
I don't know anything else.
Come on, guys.
An asterisk?
No, close. Kind of. Take three. All right, guys. Come on. I know you can do it.
I already told you what I thought. We told you. At this
You were
point,
wrong.
it just looks like a bunch of sticks put together.
Okay, fair, but wrong. And four. Okay, guys, last try. Come on, what is it?
Oh my gosh, stop asking! You're such an asshole!
Yeah, it's an asshole. Nice job.
Buy your Kurt Vonnegut asshole merchandise today. The next person that we have the honor of interviewing this evening is Billy Pilgrim. Billy Pilgrim is a World War II veteran who survived the Dresden bombings. However, after the war, he was unfortunately diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, as we assume. During that time, Billy was able to travel through time uncontrollably, as he could avoid his fear of death. So it goes. We're here with Billy Pilgrim. Thank you, Billy, for joining us this evening. I know we're taking a lot out of your time, but then again, you are unstuck. So, the first question I have for you this evening is, how do you feel as though the war affected your mental health? And do you ever reminisce on that past life?
I would say my mental health is okay. I mean, I did have to dig up bodies, light them on fire. I did stay underground for a few days while thousands of people were bombed up right above my head, but no, I think I'm doing okay. And you know, if I ever do reminisce on those times, I mean, I can just go right back at the snap of a finger anytime I want.
So, Billy, you spent a lot of time at Tralfamador. What do you think was your favorite thing about living on that planet, the people, or I should say, the Tralfamadorians?
Well, to be honest, it was a zoo up there. But anyway, they were really one of the only people who accepted me for who I really was, and they taught me to look at the bigger picture, considering they saw everything happening all at once.
Very interesting.
Thank you.
So, Billy, more importantly than your time at Tralfamador, have you developed any hobbies since returning from the war?
Well, I am an optometrist, But also, I have developed a great affinity for gardening. I found that humans are actually a really great fertilizer for tree growth.
That is a very interesting component. I will have to try it out sometime.
You should.
Our next interview is with Malachi Constant, a very wealthy and lucky man who does nothing with his money and spends it all in one night. After doing so, Rumford, whom Malachi is very skeptical of, sends him to Mars, where he becomes Unk, and Rumford uses him as a symbol of his religion to prove a point.
Here we are, seated with the richest man in the world, Malachi Constant. Malachi, what would you say your greatest asset is?
What isn't my greatest asset? Quite frankly, I have it all together. My life is perfect, and well, I do nothing to earn it. My father, he was rich and all that. We don't really care about him. He's gone now, but I did inherit quite a bit of his wealth, and I would like to believe that I'm pretty, pretty lucky myself, but I have some pretty great talents. I just haven't quite utilized them yet.
Very humble. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
All right, well, thank you for the insight, Malachi, and I'm just gonna ask you now, what is your greatest fear?
Can't believe I'm making time for this. Well, quite frankly, my greatest fear, it's really minimal, not likely to happen, but I would hate to end up on, Mars without any knowledge of my former life, because it's pretty great. But I don't really see that happening, and I feel like,
It's pretty bizarre.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't happen every day, but this fear of not knowing my former life or my family, that would be really hard, but not gonna happen. Quite frankly, living in the present, my greatest fear is that I'm sitting here with you. I can't believe that I'm making that a part of my agenda. It just doesn't seem quite like a priority.
You're being a jerk.
Where am I? Who am I? Who are you?
I'm interviewing you. Your name's Unk. Yeah.
Seems like a rather odd name.
That's what your parents called you.
Okay, I'm Unk. Why am I wearing these ridiculous clothes? I just feel so out of place.
So Unk, just have a quick question for you. Make yourself comfortable. Will you ever forgive yourself for killing your friend Stoney Stevenson?
My friend? I mean, I remember killing a man, but I wouldn't really consider him my friend. I would think you would remember something like that.
And now that you're, isolated from the world on a new planet of Titan, do you enjoy that life better, or how does that compare to your life on Earth?
Well, I must say, I had this annoying guy, Rumford. Apparently we had this history or something. He was pretty obnoxious, and I think leaving Earth and being away from him was quite beneficial. I'm not gonna lie, I had a wife and a kid at the time, and I thought maybe this isolation would be good for our relationship, Yeah, I think it was good for us.
Very good. Well, thank you so much. It was great having you.
Pleasure.
Next, we will be interviewing John, the narrator of Cat's Cradle. John takes an interesting role in The Cat's Cradle as he interacts with many of the characters throughout the novel. Towards the end, though, John becomes the main character and ultimately discovers the origin of Ice-9 and identifies Bokonon, as he also experiences the apocalypse that ends the world.
Good evening, John. Thank you for joining us this evening.
It's Jonah. Thanks.
I'll make that correction. I apologize.
Yeah.
This is Jonah. He is our interviewee this evening. And Jonah, I just wanted to ask you, after visiting San Lorenzo and experiencing so much life there, did you believe in the existence of Bokonon?
That's an interesting question, because at first when I went there, I really wasn't buying into it. It all seemed like a whole big mess and a joke to me. But after, reading his works and, seeing it in person, it all made sense. And Bokonon is really, truly a wise man.
Interesting. That's a really interesting perspective.
Thanks.
Jonah. Another question I had for you was, what are your feelings on Felix Heinecker? Do you really believe that he was evil?
One second. I wouldn't necessarily say he was evil. I know he had good intentions with his work. He was a genius, a scientific genius, but he was not careful with his inventions at all. You'd think a guy that smart would be a little more careful with a thing like Ice-9. But that dude was weird.
So, Jonah, the audience wants to know, tell us about the star-crossed relationship that you had with Mona. Do you believe that she really loved you?
Mona. It was love at first sight. I mean, the chemistry we had, unbeatable. And she, at first she tried to deny it. She tried to, keep her distance, but she was totally into me.